All right. Is it going? We going. All right. Hey, girl.
We live. Hey girl, what's up?
Nothing, nothing, nothing. What's going on with you?
A whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of nothing.
Well, you know what? It's kind of
Quarantine.
the same thing I got going on.
Just
Kind
living this quarantine life.
of living the quarantine dream.
Yep, making it happen.
Yes, indeed.
So, what shall we speak on tonight?
Okay. Well, now last week we was having a good conversation about trust issues. So I think, you know what I'm saying, because trust issues, it can go so many ways. Most of the time we think about trust issues, we just think about, you know, in a relationship, a romantic relationship. But what if it's like outside of that? You know, how do you deal with stuff like, you know what I'm saying, stuff that's going on right now? I think we're living in a world right now, the entire world has trust issues on display for everybody to see.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the root of a whole lot of stuff that's happening. What is this on me? A whole lot of stuff that's happening in our society right now. Just, you know, nobody knows who to trust. And then because we know, you know what I'm saying, so many people, I think that a lot of times we live in fear of our own demons, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You know the things, you know the evil that you're capable of. And so because you're
yeah,
capable of such uh, I want to say abominable things or such vile things, you know, at our core, you know what I'm saying? That's even the best of people, you know what I'm saying? The most loving, the most kind, the most compassionate people. Everybody still has a dark side, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I think, you know, those trust issues, a lot of times they just evolve because of what we know deep down about our dark side, our own dark side, you know what I'm saying? So what do you think about that?
I mean, trust issues. I mean, it's people. Sometimes you have to wonder if you can trust yourself and
Mhm.
your judgment and just your thoughts. And like you said, everybody has a evil streak or evil spirit in them. Some people are able to maintain and keep it kind of at bay. And at some point it will come out if they're provoked or pushed to certain limits. I mean, I can be really, really nice, but can be pushed. And and especially in you can tie it into if you violate my trust with my children, or you put their lives in jeopardy or anything of that nature, or I can't trust you around my children,
Right.
then yeah, I can actually show you an evil side of me that you'll be like, is this even the same person? you know and also too, with trust and trusting yourself, it can be from past mistakes that you've made and or decisions in life, in relationships, in even in jobs and things of that nature. And you just have to, it's the same as rebuilding trust with others. You have to rebuild that trust in yourself and just get back to a stable foundation.
Yeah.
And so,
Now that's true. Um, so I know, you know, and I think we may have touched on it briefly uh, during another conversation about, you know, trusting yourself. and how that ties into loving yourself, knowing yourself, and all of that good stuff. But like, you know, there was a period that when I was really young, I was probably about 14 years old, you know, I made some decisions at that time, and it kind of shaped. I made a decision, you know, very young, and it kind of shaped the way that I handled relationships from that moment on, you know. And I really had not. 14 years old, you really haven't had no true relationship experience, you know.
Yeah.
Not too much, I would hope, but you know, really, that was like really like one of my first relationships, you know. And I betrayed the trust of the person that I was in a relationship with, and me betraying the trust of that person that I was in a relationship with, it didn't only affect my relationship with him, it affected my relationship with his sister, his cousin, his entire family. It you know, it affected the trust that my family had in me. And so because I made, you know what I'm saying, one false move, you know, it's like I kind of, because I felt, you know, so I felt violated by myself. Like I violated me. You know what I'm saying? And so it took me like, you know, a long time to really get to the place to where, okay, well, I just want to be in a committed relationship or whatever. But then when I decided, okay, I'm going to be in a relationship, and I'm going to be so committed to this relationship that it's like it crippled me in a sense. And so I because my indiscretion, you know what I'm saying, in the past, my previous indiscretion, it led me to stay in something that was not unhealthy. Because it's like, well, you don't want to be unfaithful, you know, even if that means that, you know, the person that you're with is unfaithful to you, they're not dedicated to you, they're, you know, and the relationship as a whole is just not healthy. It's just taking up time, space, energy, oxygen, it's wasting all of it. You know, that's pretty much the type of situation it was. And so but I stayed in it. I continued to entertain it for the sake of, well, I don't want to be the bad guy again. I don't want to be, you know, and so sometimes it can cause it can cause us to have poor judgment, because it's like we hold ourselves hostage because what we know about ourselves. And we even have to learn how to rebuild the trust that we have, and not, you know, operate from a place that we, you know, we have ourselves hogtied to a mistake, you know, or to a poor decision or whatever. And then, because that's going to create that creates an atmosphere for a perpetual cycle of just crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's like a dysfunctional cycle, and I don't know, it can be hard to break, but a lot of times we have trust issues with other people because of so little something, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's not a situation like that, like say for instance, a lot of times people that have been molested, you know, men or women that have been molested like as children, it's like they'll, you know, they know the other party was wrong for doing what they did, but it's like they hold guilt and whatever, they blame themselves for it. And so then they don't trust anybody else, and they don't even allow room a lot of times for somebody that is genuinely, you know, concerned for them, genuinely trying to help them heal, genuinely trying to add to their lives. A lot of times they operate from a place where they can't even receive that. They cut that off because it's like, well, you know, I don't trust me enough to use good judgment to not leave myself into a situation where I'm going to get violated again. You know what I'm saying? And that is that's vicious too. That's
Yeah, because the trust that they have in themselves and others, like you said, has been violated. So the only thing that they do trust is not to get caught up again.
right.
And so, and if that means by cutting yourself off from people or cutting yourself off from certain feelings or certain situations, you'll do that.
Right.
And you tend to break yourself, I guess would be a thing, because you're not, you need to heal from it. But if you isolate yourself and never actually deal with the problem, you tend to, it chips away at little pieces of you until it breaks you down mentally to nothing. And you, you know, of course, I can't really speak on being molested because I haven't been, but I can only imagine and assume, and I say that with it, assume that it, if I was molested, I would probably revert into myself and and just probably just in a shell, because that's how I handle a lot of things. I hold it in, and that's not good. And especially in those types of situations, you need to, I feel like, verbalize it to conquer it and get over it and build from there.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely right about that. And having experienced some of the things I've experienced, I have experienced so much. Um, you know, I can easily identify, with some of those things. And so, you do, you begin to repress those feelings. A lot of times a person will operate from, they'll either be on be on one extreme or the other extreme. So you'll be extremely all over the place or extremely withdrawn.
Yeah.
And, you know, for myself, I have had periods of both. Um, I've had periods of both, and it just took me really just acknowledging to myself, admitting to myself that what, I am really in a bad place. I am not okay. I am so broken on the inside. I don't know who to trust. I don't know how to trust. I'm not even sure if I trust God at this point. I want to. I feel like I should, but I don't know how, and it took me in that place of my life just saying, God, I took all of that stuff to God and said, hey, this is the truth. This is my true truth. I'm not sure if I even trust you anymore. I thought I did, but I'm not sure. So if you can help me, because I got some deep hurt. I got some deep wounds. And I got some places that have been broken in my life and they have healed without being reset. So it's still messed up. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking, it's like walking around with a broken leg that you never reset, but you just still walking around on it. And it's, your tissue, muscle tissue, and all this stuff, it has started to, do whatever it's doing, heal itself around a broken bone.
Yeah.
I was like that for so many years. Like I just lived like that. And it took me through some really low places. You know what I'm saying? I could say for a good span, probably like that transition from being so broken into a place of healing. I mean, it is so fresh. Like probably most people wouldn't even believe. You know what I'm saying? If I really broke it down, broke it down. Like, you be like, wait a minute, what? You know?
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of self-reflection, and it takes being really in tune with yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing the things that, hey, you know what? You're like, hey, this hurt me. I'm struggling with it. I know it was 30 years ago, but it's still just as raw as it was when it happened. And I need to move on with my life. I don't need this to cripple me. I don't need this to be in every area of my life. And then, you know what I'm saying, work through it. You know, and a lot of that for me came with just constantly keeping, this is not how I want to live. This is not how I want to live. I don't want to live hurt. I don't want to live mad. I don't want to live angry. I don't want to live bitter. I don't want to live resenting everybody, because the thing about that is that people go on with their lives. People hurt you and they move on. They're not, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like I can say for me, people that I probably hurt, it probably affected them a lot longer than it affected me. I didn't just, okay, well, you know what? I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry I hurt you. You know, please forgive it, whatever. And I done moved on. But if they choose not in that moment, if they didn't choose to really, truly forgive me, and let's move on from that, release me from the hurt, release me from the offense that I did against you, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm going on living my life. 15 years later, 10 years later, 6 months, 8 months later. And the thing about it is, I don't even know that they're over there. They can't, you know what I'm saying? They still stuck in that moment.
Yeah.
They've been unable to form any meaningful friendships or relationships or whatever. Their business is stuck because, oh, I trusted her and she, or, you know, she was supposed to be my friend and now she's not, and whatever. I don't know. And so it's very imperative that, you know, for the sake of self, so that you can move on. You have to trust yourself with your own afflictions. You have to trust yourself enough to say, hey, let me love on you because you're not okay. You know, you have to do that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And even if that means sometimes, you know what, going back to people and saying, hey, you know, we are good. We're good. Forgive you. And listen, hey, you know, I've had to go back to, you know what I'm saying? I've had to go back and revisit situations that, okay, I'm over this, but you get to once you get to that place in yourself, you get to a place where you can recognize that brokenness, you can recognize what that is, and then you can help heal somebody else. But if you can't use your energy internally, it's no way it can be effective externally. You're going to be bleeding all over everybody around you. You're going to be bleeding your issues out on everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not fair. And I've had to, like I said, I had to go back to some situations, and it's like, okay, you know, why does this thing keep trying to pop up in my life? Why does this situation keep trying to revisit me? But it wasn't about me. It was, okay, now you've acknowledged your issues with this situation. You've been able to effectively heal. Now go back to the one that was in this situation with you, because they're still struggling.
Yeah.
And lead them to the place of healing with that issue. And that was not like the times I've had to do it. It's never been a comfortable situation for me, but it's always been kind of awkward, you know, 'cause it's like, okay, well, I don't have no issues. Like, why? mm, what's this for?
Yeah.
But in the end, I realized this was necessary because not only did it allow me to um, see somebody else's situation, but you can see sometimes when there's residual things that you didn't even know were there concerning you. When you think that, okay, I've dealt with it all, I've done it all, this is done and over with, I've moved on, that's a closed chapter, rewriting a new one, almost finished with that, about to turn the page and write the next one. But sometimes there's still some remnants from that previous stuff. And it's so small, it's so minute, you don't even see it. And you don't even see how it's affecting how you move in the area, you know what I'm saying, where you progressed, you know. So I don't know, but you got to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself enough to be honest with yourself about them issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you're just gonna be projecting. Nah.
You have to, like, when you say that, because I'm thinking of a situation when I dated, right after me and the kid's father separated, and I didn't trust the guy because I'm like, who at 21 wants to come in? I have not one, but two. You have kids, you have none.
Mm.
And yeah, we were together, but I always in the back of my head, like, what's the angle? Like, I fully didn't trust him. And now, as I'm older, I think back on all the heartache and grief that I gave him because I didn't trust him and I didn't trust myself because I was scared I was making the same mistakes that I felt like I made with their dad. But because I didn't catch stuff. And I felt like now I need to catch it. I don't want to make the same mistakes. So I'm not trusting him. I'm not trusting myself. And I'm treating this guy like crap, giving him hell, giving him the blues. So one day that I had to have a come to Jesus with myself and say, okay, these people are two totally different people. And do you not trust, do you not trust yourself to see or discern things? And, you had to kind of just have this conversation with yourself. But it was kind of a process of kind of healing myself because one, I was tired of it was almost like bitter. And, and I was broken because, hey, broken heart, broken spirit, broken relationship, uh, abandonment because, hey, you up, left, kids, me, everything. So you go through all of that and, you have to say, none of the signs are there. And I know I'm trying to be on guard and all of that, but sometimes you can look for things that aren't there. And if you keep looking, sometimes you'll find it. You may not want to find it, or you can bring trouble to your doorstep. And so, so I had to trust that I had to first forgive and heal. I ain't gonna say forgive myself. Just kind of say, hey, trust me. You made a bad decision, but that's not totally your fault. But trust yourself enough to know that you'll see the signs this time. And once I kind of forgave myself for the mess up that I had before and kind of, dropped my guard, kind of decided that I could trust him. He hadn't shown me anything that would make me feel like I couldn't trust him. I was happy again because I was wearing myself down
I'm trying
with
to
all that, yeah, with all the what ifs and the doubts and
no
the
peace at all.
I wish a mother would. All you got all of this like you playing
And
out
ready.
yes, playing out scenarios that ain't never coming, but you just playing them out. You're gonna be ready just in case. And if you are honest with yourself, sometimes you can eliminate a lot of the problems in your life. But a lot of people aren't ready to pull that mirror out and have that conversation with themselves.
Because baby, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough
Yeah.
looking at you saying, you know what, you jacked up. And you need to get yourself together because you are ruining yourself and everything around you with your mess. That's a hard conversation to have.
Honey, look in that mirror and
Oh, wow.
all right. No, stop it.
Woo.
Uh,
But you can get in here. Let me show you where it's at.
no, oh my God. This is a family show. No, I'm joking.
Listen, make sure when this getting put on YouTube, make sure you hit the button and say, no, this is not for kids.
Oh, I always do. And you hear it because I can't always remember what I've said. Oh, because I'm not worried about what you gonna say. You,
I can see what I can see.
you're so crazy. Lord.
What are we talking about, girl?
Looking at ourselves in that mirror, child. See some ugly truth in that mirror.
And it's, baby, sometimes it be real ugly. I know I have some moments where, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to have a come to Jesus meeting, and Jesus like, no, you go to yourself.
He said, not today.
And Jesus turn you around. No, baby, this is not you. You need to talk to you about this. I already know about it, but you need to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Not the one you need to have a conversation with. Have a conversation with you. Forgive you.
Yes.
You. Move on with yourself.
Yeah. A lot of that could be avoided if we face the facts, because that sometimes we're jacked up, we're the problem. I think we talked about this before because nobody wants to ever admit it could be them. But if the pattern is the same, and you the common denominator in every pattern that or everything that goes on,
you might be the antagonist.
Yeah,
and
because
the victim.
Yeah, if every job you go on and the same thing keeps happening, different job, different people, only thing in there that's the same as you, that might be the issue. And it does to look at yourself and be able to say, I'm a problem or I need to fix me. Tough. Tough, tough, tough. And we all, I mean, I've had to do it. I'm pretty sure you have. And it ain't pretty at all.
You know, I think the other thing is we need to allow ourselves the opportunity to say, to just, hey, we don't, when you are birthed into this world, you do not get a list of instructions that say, hey, this is how you do life.
No.
There is no such thing that I'm aware of. And if it is, like, can somebody please let us know where to get a copy?
Right.
But you know, and sometimes we're so harsh on ourselves.
Get this right first. Some clip notes on life.
Something, you know, we can be so harsh on ourselves to the degree that like we won't even let ourselves live. Like we have unreasonable expectations of ourselves. We ourselves, okay, well, we expecting ourselves to be perfect. But like that's something that I really had to give myself a reality check. Like this past week, like with school, I was like so just because I was struggling with something. But it's like, come on, just give it your best shot. If you gave it your best shot, then that's good. That's cool. And if you don't make a perfect score, you don't end this class with a perfect grade, nobody is dying because of that. Nobody coming to your house and taking one of your kids for ransom because you didn't make the 99, whatever, and so it's like that was like that's the most recent place I can think of that I had a really unreasonable expectation of myself, and I was like really beating myself up about it. But I'm like, no, I had to really like shake myself out of it. And sometimes, like even my daughter, I'm saying, my 13-year-old, she was like, like, is it really that serious though? And I was like, well, yeah, serious. What you mean?
Yeah.
Like, this serious. I'm about to be 41 years old. I gotta get this education. I gotta. And she like, you're doing good. Just, just do what you gotta do, but don't stress about it. And I was like, okay. She's like, just don't make it harder for yourself. Being hard on yourself. And I was like, okay, good. All right, girl. How much I owe you for this session?
Oh, but we are our biggest critics,
Yeah,
and we are our biggest. I guess we can be an enemy to ourselves. We can be our biggest cheerleader. We can be our biggest enemy
absolutely.
because we we do put a lot of expectations on ourselves that are sometimes unobtainable. Let me say that right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think I had a conversation with my sister because she took a test this week and she passed the test.
Mm-hmm.
She made 80, I think is what she said. Oh, you would have thought she flunked and,
Girl,
you know,
that's how I was feeling though.
well, yeah, and I get it. I've been that way. And I told her, here we are in our 40s, and she's older. I'm about to be 43. She's 3 years older than me. And it's like, okay, you passed with with a good grade, so to speak. I said, just remember, you can't always be the smartest one in the class, the smartest one in the room. I said, take your win and celebrate it. And I said, because next time you may have the highest grade in the class. You may be the one. I said, just don't look at yourself as a failure because you won still today. You passed. Failure would be you didn't pass and you couldn't take it again and that was it. Then I would understand, your frustrations. But she said, well, we were taught to be the best. And that was true. And I think that's a motivational speech that our parents give us. I
Mm,
don't think that, we're supposed to take it serious, but not that serious. That means I think it means when our parents tell us that to put our best foot forward, not just be sitting here sulking, but it is hard.
yeah.
It is very, very hard. But I tell now that I'm at the age I am now, I've had kids, I've been through some things. Hey, as long as you've done the best that you can do, and you put every effort into it, that's all you can ask for. That's all a person can ask for.
Right.
So The rest of that extra, save it for something else on another day.
You got to.
So yes. So with trust, Tasha, like we have all different. There, it's not just one type of trust. It's all things like we talked about. Is any situations that you've ever had where you just weren't able to trust and you could never get past that? Like you like, no, I don't care what you say, what you do.
Yes, 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 yes. But eventually, because I wanted to heal, because I chose, no, I'm going to heal from this. My family is going to heal from this. We are going to heal from this. Um, and it's still a process that we're dealing with as a whole. Um, and because it involves, our children, I won't go into specifics about it, because hey, there's some minor children involved, there are other parties involved, other parents involved and different things like that. So there are people outside of our, immediate family unit that are affected by it, that were affected by it. So I won't go into detail about it for the sake of, their respect, dignity, and whatever else, and their, right to privacy. But, for me, being that in my first marriage, there was domestic violence involved in the marriage. And so there have been times where I have had encounters with people in my life close to me that, things took a turn that way. And whether that be, hey, this is a relationship, or I'm living with somebody and this is how the relationship went. This is how the end of the relationship, how the relationship went, this how it ended, this how it went down. Or if it be, hey, there's an altercation with a family member, somebody that you love dearly, whatever. Things like that, when you have gone through something and you have done your best to move forward progressively, move forward from it without holding everybody that presents themselves in your life as an opportunity to love, to be compassionate towards, to, coexist, whatever. But when something happens and it's familiar and it triggers a response, it's like it's like it digs up a dead body. You know what I'm saying? It digs up a skeleton that's been buried and it hangs it back up. You know what I'm saying? And so now this thing that, okay, it was dead, it was buried, I've lived past that. I've trusted past that. I've loved past that. I've, bonded past that. And now there's a violation that is so familiar that it pushes you back to that place that we were talking about, of like, oh my God, I don't, how could I be so, how can I let my guard down like this and then allow this type of thing to happen in my life? I should have, why didn't I see some warning signs? Why didn't I see this? Why didn't I see that? Well, I'm not, now I'm gonna just love people from a distance. From now on, I don't care who it is, whether it's, grown folks, church folks, kids, nieces, nephews, mama, auntie, cousin, whatever, husband, you too, I go to bed and get up with you, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna halfway trust you too now, because I've had a setback, because something familiar to where I'm saying, something hit me in a place where I suffered some trauma at another point in my life. It's just like, if, like the shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Hey, when I worked at the post office, I slipped on some ice, hurt my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? That injury has healed. I can do what I need to do, but every now and then, when the cold weather comes, the weather get cold enough, I feel this ache again. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, when the weather starts changing, it's like, man, I don't want to deal with no cold weather. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want this thing to start bothering me again. This place where I was afflicted, I don't want it to start bothering me again. And so instead of, okay, well, hey, y'all, let's go and, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it snowed outside. Let's go have a snowball fight. Or, hey, y'all, it's nice and cool outside. Let's go and look at some Christmas lights. I want to stay in. I want to stay warm. I don't want to go in that cold weather because I don't have time for my shoulder to be aching again. And so that is kind of what happens when you've had a trauma. You've experienced some form of trauma. And then you have something happen in your life and it'll take you back. You feel that thing, it makes you feel something that you felt before. And then you start operating from that protective space. But even that's unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not how you should do life. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's that thing where you are holding yourself hostage to your own pain. And with that, you just have to baby step. You have to, you know what I'm saying, baby steps. And when you're struggling with it, you have to make it known that, hey, I'm struggling with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some things that, hey, you know, our entire family, our family as a whole, our extended families had to allow us an opportunity to say, hey, not right now. And, you know, people wanted to push and say, oh, we'll do this and do that and do this. But you have to be honest enough to say, hey, this is what I desire. Unfortunately, this is where I am. I'm doing the best I can. From here, I'm doing the best I can. I'm walking at the pace that I can safely walk from point A to point B. B is my goal. I'm in agreement with you that B is the goal. But if I have to take one step every month, one step every year, one more step the next year, until I arrive at B, let me, please, let us take whatever measures we need to take to get there without interfering, without projecting your own stuff, because what that does is you don't deal with the things the way they need to be dealt with. You just start moving. You start moving because of the pressure from other people, when those other people don't know what you're really dealing with. They don't know, you know, what goes on in your downtime. They only know what they know when they see you. They only know what they know about the experience that they're having with you. But they don't know, nobody knows but each person what they're dealing with. And so, like I said, we had a situation and it impacted our entire family. My husband, myself, every child that was part of this union. And, you know, it affected the other parents, it affected the grandparents, it affected, you know, aunties, uncle, whatever. But we're healing. You understand what I'm saying? We're in a place that we're healing. But the only way that healing could truly take place is for everybody involved to acknowledge, no, this hurts. And I'm still hurting. And I'm trying to, you know, hey, I'm trying to peel this bandage off. Just, you know, let me peel it off slow. You know what I'm saying? We're not just gonna yank no bandages off. We just, you know what I'm saying? How, you know, so that you can do it and you can heal without adding further harm. without inflicting more pain. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the worst thing in the world, when you are healing and then you re-injured. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a paper cut and then you, oh God, oh Lord, it was almost gone. And then you paper cut your paper cut. Oh God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know you know about that, all them charts, girl, all that paper we used to deal with. But, you know, that's the worst. That's the worst. And so, you know, just baby steps, even if it take a while, just, you know, and don't give yourself, that's one thing, like for us, we could not allow people's opinions. We couldn't allow people's opinions or advice for how we should respond, how we should heal, how whatever. We had to really kind of forge our own path for that. Because sometimes people mean well, but you have to, a lot of times it's not even about, oh, well, this person hurt me. No, the healing process is not about getting over what they did, getting over what you did. The healing process is about finding out why this broke you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding the place that, okay, what weak area was there? Why did this break you? And how can we, you know what I'm saying? How can we fix that? How can we take this place of vulnerability and, you know, do something else with it that's not gonna, don't say, so if you encounter this again, it's not gonna break you, but you're gonna be able to help build somebody else, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that was a real spot, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, hey, it's something we're still presently navigating. We're, you know what I'm saying? But we're making progressive movement. And so, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, I would not be able to say, if I were to say, oh, well, yeah, you know, it's all good. You know, it's better. 2 years ago, if I said that, I would be lying.
Yeah.
No, 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh, baby, it's bad. It's bad, bad. Mm-hmm. Only God can do it. And if he don't do it, then oh well, because the way it's gonna get done.
Crazy. Oh my God. Oh.
But seriously,
well,
no, seriously,
that was interesting.
That would have been the only honest response I would have been able to give. You know what I'm saying? Hey. That's how we've arrived to the place that we are now.
It happened. Yes, it is what it is. Yes. So
my computer is doing that again.
Okay. And it's gotten better, and
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just important. The most important thing is to just, hey, go through your process however it works for you. You know, sometimes people can give you their opinion, they can give you their advice, and they mean well. They do. You know what I'm saying? But you kind of have to be in tune. You have to be in tune with yourself and what works, what doesn't work. You have to know what your triggers are and whatever else. And then the thing about it, you have to know where you're toxic. And where you're toxic, you have to, you know what I'm saying, protect. You have to operate from the standpoint that you're going to protect yourself from other people's toxicity and you're going to protect them from yours. You know what I'm saying? And then you navigate those situations however you can with that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it is true. Hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be the person that's, you know what I'm saying, tearing up folks left and right. You just don't want to be doing that because you have issues, because you have some trust issues, because you have some hurts and some things that you haven't adequately processed, and now you're projecting it everywhere.
Right.
Hey, take your time, go through your process, go at a pace that's going to work for you. Don't let other people force you into repeating the cycle of projecting your trust issues all over the place. Just take your time. Take your time. Don't try to avoid the process, because you got to go through it. You try to avoid it, you're going to keep coming around to the same old thing until you face it. So.
All right. That's good. Yes, ma'am. You just have to go into the situation and find that balance so that you can trust yourself to make the good decisions, and then hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, that's it. That.
Mm-hmm.
Be accountable. Now that
Yeah.
part, bro, that's a whole nother topic. We have to talk about that. Holding yourself.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Well, good talk, girlfriend. Good talk.
It was.
Friend.
It was really good. It was good. And we now have something to lead into for next week. So, yes. All right, people.
All right, well, we'll talk to y'all next time.
All right. Y'all have a good evening. Bye, Tasha.